Greetings in the divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie the First, King Alpha, and I, Divine Mother, Empress Menen Queen Omega, and I, the children of Jah Rastafari, representing for the Ankh Nation family. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in I sight to Jah. Greetings ones and ones. Once again, give thanks for lending ear so I can articulate Rastafari. Now, this word sound, reflecting upon the king, the king Earthstrong was yesterday, and I in a reflective mode and looking through the lens of Rastafari, and I look upon within the first century of Rastafari, and I am amazed that I as Rastafari are some of the ones and ones that still not over the fullness of Rastafari. And ones and ones within this first century of Rastafari I try to make Rastafari into an all-inclusive movement. Now, foundation Rastafari is this: black divinity, blackness, black family, black salvation, restoration, resistance. Now, why we declare Rastafari? Again, white oppression and domination. Because of white oppression and domination, they have elevated and the supremacy of whiteness and denigrate the blackness. And this is why the elders them forward in and declare black divinity. That means when you declare your God black, that means you're powerful. Ultimately, this is what the elders, the foundation Rastafari is all about. Now, what caused I and I to declare Rastafari? That diabolical enterprise called the transatlantic slave trade. Again, that brought captives and turned captives into slaves. And those who refuse, them label them wild and tame, maroon. Hence, Marcus Garvey Rastafari. Now, Marcus Garvey is the man that point in the direction to the east, where the elders them declare the king. And this is where the movement now, because of slavery, the only book that I was taught from was the Bible. And there are selected passages in the Bible where they want I to keep I docile. And so they preach them slave doctrine to I. So therefore, everything that is divine is white, and everything is beautiful is white, and everything that is negative is black. This is what they infuse and socially engineered I to accept. So hence the hatred for blackness. The diaspora is a socially engineered people, and they are socially engineered to idolize, extol whiteness and forsake their blackness. And this is what Rastafari brought to the table and said, no, your God is you, and you look like your God, and your God must be you, and therefore you are powerful. And this is why I declare the king. His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie the First, Empress Menen, and the child, as for Wasson, representing the salvation of the Ankh Nation family, so-called African, the black family. Now, this is what was brought to the table, and this is foundation Rastafari. Now, you have ones and ones out there where I prefer love call them Rastafarians because they are religious and they are all inclusive and they are one love. But the questions I like to pose to all of them, once with that mindset, is this question: when I was experiencing and going to the trauma and the brutalization of slavery, was it all inclusive or was it exclusive to I? The diabolical enterprise that called the transatlantic slave trade and slavery in of itself was exclusive to I as black people, as Rastafari. So how is it that now I restore I identity and I declare I self and I say, yo, I Rasta. Now all of a sudden, ones and ones want to make it into an all-inclusive enterprise. Rastafari is divine blackness. Point blank, period. And I'm not too way about it. So ones and ones I try pollute the trad and I try low up the trad. Listen, Rastafari is blackness in all sense of the word. Our God is black, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I I, Empress Menen is black, and the children, which is I and I, are asked for what's representing I and I, the children, is blackness. This is Rastafari, foundation Rastafari. Now that we have that established now we can look into the king now, because the king, I and I declare the king, and the king forward in a Jamaica in 66. And this is another, this is where these one love and religious Rastafarian type ones want to take the king word and twist the word, but until the philosophy, which old one is superior and another inferior, and they want to make it into all inclusive. But the most important part of the king said until that day they not come yet. So therefore there cannot be no all inclusiveness. Where power is regulated and centered around a specific set of people, which is northern recessive aggressive people, and them all the power in the earth right now. Where's the equality? So why and I are come talk about all inclusiveness? No. There are ones and ones out there who want to ask, can white people be Rasta? My response to that is this. When I and I did not go through slavery, was it right people the instigator of slavery, or was it an all-inclusive adventure or enterprise? If the answer is no, then therefore white people cannot be Rasta. Point blank, period again. And I'm not being ambiguous about this. When I and I said this to you know, I and I just have to put it straight and plain. Now, with that being said, now we'll go back to the king again. Now the king manifests and come on Jamaica 66. And the Jamaica government now, because Rasta declare the king, they want to discredit Rasta, so them turn around now and bring the king come to Jamaica to discredit Rasta. Which the king using humility and diplomacy, answer the question is, who am I to deny them of their faith? So therefore the king endorsed Rasta, and the king not just endorse Rasta and bring Rastafari and entourage. And this is where Mortimer plan to gain ascendancy and popularity within the Rastafari movement. So the king do that. Enough one time one love come talk about say the king declares that him is not God and all of that. Again, once and once needs to overs this. It's not the king tell I and I say he's God, you know. It's I and I who declare the king. I and I don't care whether the king is a Christian or none of these things. It's I and I declare the king, and the king is divine to I and I because simple. We don't have to intellectualize, man. This is just simple because I and I say so. Period. Now, moving right along again, then come around now. What is the next argument? What them like to about? Oh, Rasta want to declare a man who is God. I'm not call His Majesty God, and His Majesty are not God. Again, we repeat it again. Rastafari do not care what them and those think. Rastafari declare the king as I and I divine. And so enough I only need to go look up and over the definition of what a God is. Because if enough I only don't know, a God is the collective group of people that decide who and what their divine is. If you want all the stick to be a God too, the stick can be a God if you declare it so collectively. So I and I as Rastafari don't care. I and I tell you say His Majesty is I and I divine. I and I no keep in His Majesty physical trad, him born into a Christian society. Just like the man when I call Jesus was not a Christian. Jesus was a Jew, born in a Judeo-Christian society. But yet still, present time, he is that what the Christian they made him to be. And they declare him as them God. Nothing wrong with that. If you don't want that, a fool nothing. I only give you the book, you know. And out of that book, I as Rastafari extract and find scriptures where manifest the king to I. And that's as simple as that, you know. Rastafari don't need to argue with nobody about I divine. It's time for a Rastaman within themselves now for be confident and own what you say. You don't have to explain nothing to nobody. So in the July 23rd manifestation of the king, I who with the eyes, at the far eyes, see the king and declare the king. It's not no one else. And the king manifests I divine blackness, black power, black liberation. And why we have to declare black power and black liberation is because of the ascendancy of white supremacy. And their domination and oppression. Where they try to make I into nothing. And that is what birthed Rastafari. So I declare the king. Now, the next argument when the king reached Jamaica, the king forward in and the king, what the king do? When the king, the elders them are declares, say the king is I divine. And then the king bring the church. No, enough ones and ones are overs, you know, or strategic the king is. Because the king is always strategic, you know. It's just ones and ones, sometimes ones and one feel for say the purpose of the church. When the king bring the church come to Jamaica, you know, the church came as an umbrella for protect I. Because the church is an international body. And with under the banner of Christianity or Orthodoxy, that would give us coverage from the abuse and the oppression that the Jamaican government and the system in general that was administered against Rastafari. That was the purpose of the church. But ones and ones, you know, overs these things. You know what I mean? Rastafari not trying to be Ethiopia. I not trying to be Ethiopia now. I embrace Ethiopia because for Ethiopia, for Rastafari is that an indomitable spirit. That lion, unconquerable spirit that Ethiopia represent, along with the unconquerable nature of the king. So this is why I extol Ethiopia. For Rastafari again, Ethiopia is the completeness of that dark continent, that black continent where them can label it so-called Africa, which I refuse now, and I label that nation. Because we are the people who give life to the world, we are the people who civilize the world. The footprint of human evolution is found in Ethiopia, in the geographic land space called Ethiopia, spread out in the four corners of the earth. And this is why Ethiopia remains indomitable, because guess why? It was the only space left for the northern recessive aggressive people to conquer. And yes, them occupy it, but them never conquer. Occupation and conquering is two different things. Because how do I know? What is the evidence of this? Mussolini occupied Ethiopia. The Ethiopians must speak Italian. You see the Ethiopians are flying on European flag, and the other conquered African nations them around. The Ethiopian them have 80 different ethnic groups in Ethiopia, and they must speak them different languages, even within the conquest of Islam. Arabic. You have enough of the Oromo, the Wallo, and the Djibouti and Somalia and them adapt is Arabic because of the conquest of Islam. But nonetheless, the cultural traditions of the people still remain. So, the point that I make in relation to is that Rastafari is a people who I declare and align and attach I self to anciency, which is Ethiopia. That is the significance of Ethiopia to I. And the ancients of Ethiopia say, this is where I and I evolved and spread out in the four corners of the earth. And this is, and so shall it be in the beginning, so shall it be in the, and this is what Rastafari get now. Restore I and I to I and I ancients. That is Rastafari. Foundation Rastafari, let me repeat again, is at its core is black divinity. And our black divinity gonna work through the black skin. I and I, the Ang-Nation family, representing at the apex is Imperial Master Emperor Haile Selassie, divine in flesh, I and I. And they say they know Rastafari don't need to be intellectualized and about no debate and an argument about no one, about what I and I declare. His Majesty a God because I and I say him a God, point blank period. We don't need to explain no other way to nobody. Every other nation we have them God, them not explain why them God is and who them God is. Them tell us them God name Allah, you have to work with it. Them tell us them God name Jesus, you have to work with that. Them tell us them God name Yahweh, Judaism, Jews, Israelites, whatever title them want Ghana. Them declare who them for them God is. Nobody know another question and an argument with them about who them say them. Over in Buddha and Christian in India and also in China. Them have them gods. Nobody not argue with them over them gods. So why is it that when Rastafari declare and I God, who know have a lengthy debate and will be chatting with Rasta about who we say our God is? We don't need no chat, no conversation. I and I declare it and it is so. We don't need no more explanation than that. And I and I as Rastafari have confidence and lion up and own it. You don't have to explain nothing to no one about Rastafari. Either you is or you ain't. A lion is a lion. A lion cannot be a hyena. You see where I come from? And I is a lion trad. Resistance. And we have a bold. And we are not ambiguous about Rastafari. We are clear. So that's a I and I word sound. You know? I will like more other things, you know, like I say again, even with the king. Rastafari is not about no all-inclusive. Rastafari is about the salvation and the survival of the Ang-Nation family, so-called black people, so-called African people. That's what Rastafari is about, and the full time I and I as Rastafari need to come into that realization and know that it's a survival track. And they say then everybody else is about them survival, and Mr. Chin is about them survival, you know. They're not the recessive, aggressive people, it's about their survival. This is why them set up them hierarchy and them institution and them system to protect them. It is all about their survival. You will never have equality with them because they know what equality represents. And you can't expect them to have equality because naturally they are outnumbered by us. If you strip away the system that them set up and the barriers, they and becomes all-inclusive like most of them want it to be, they are going to get annihilated by natural genetics, by natural biology. And when I say I'm giving a clear picture when I talk. If it becomes all-inclusive equality, once we start to interbreed, it's like pouring coffee into milk. It is going to get black and the milk and you will no longer find the milk. So you have to respect and oversee their position and where they come from. So that this is why them do the things that they do. It's about their survival and them impose the parasitical relationship. And that's how they survive. And I have to come and realize who we are as a people. And stop from fooling ourselves and stop in an argument with non-progressive people that try to be stumbling blocks in I way. Read this Rastafari track. We have to be progressive about Rastafari and be sure. We're not ambiguous. And stop make ones and especially the black skin ones about love stand up in our way for their master. We have to identify them and know who they are. and know who's Rastafari and who's not Rastafari. Love. Enough ones and ones want to on this love thing. And listen, a survival. And within survival, embody love and hate. A survival, we say, this is what these people is about. They're about their survival. And everything that they do is about their survival. See Mr. Chief coming at the world again, let me repeat it. And see him dominate them. And the things that Mr. Chief dominate, he using money now for gain leverage and gain access to your resources for the survival of the Chinese people. See Israel are dealing with the Palestinian them. Why Israel are dealing with the Palestinian them, the way them are dealing with them, is about the survival of Israel. So what are you going to do about your survival? Are you continuing to sit and wait and hope things change? You have to be about your survival, and this is what Rastafari is about. You can't sit down every day and a ball and implement the same strategy. When them stepping on your neck, you go up on the front of the placards and you're preaching and you're begging for peace and you're crying for justice and you want justice. You're never going to get justice because you them do placate you, and then when you wake up tomorrow morning, the process starts all over again. You have to know where you represent, man. You have to know where you defend, and you have to know say it is about the black survivor, and that's what Rastafari is about. And when I mention this thing, I don't want to misconstrue and twist up I words either, you know. I is clear. There is no boundary when it comes to love. Love crosses every boundaries. But here's the thing with love. You have individuals, be it black, white, or Chinese, that fall in love. But when it comes with these ones and ones versus their collective nation, they will be ostracized. Because what you don't realize is that ultimately you are threatening the very existence. Miscegenation is actually threatening the existence of your generation, your bloodline. But we don't value a woman, and we don't value who we are as a people. We want to be mixed up with everybody. So you have to oversee these things. And that's what Rastafari comes to preserve, restore, and reclaim. I and I identity, I and I as a people, make I and I viable again and strong again. And this is Rastafari in fullness. Foundation Rastafari. Once again, the King Earth Strong manifest again, and I declare the King. And the King come and the King show I and I when for sure I and I. In strategic form. It's just I and I as Rastafari look beyond the obvious and see the things that the King show I and I. The King bear the brunt enough because it was he who all the European nations them with them scheming and them conniving. Try to outwit, but yet still the King outsmart the whole of them and maintain the sovereignty of Ethiopia. He never do it like no dopey back. The King was strategically from the moment of ascendancy, before him even take the throne. The King was always strategic. And if the King is I and I, Father, I and I have to be strategic. But in order to be strategic, you have to know. And you have to identify. And stop fool yourself. And this is what we are doing with this religious vibration and this all-inclusive. No. Rastafari is a black manifestation. I'm going to repeat it again. And the reason why we declare Rastafari is because of white oppression and domination. And when them did that oppression and domination and them still are doing it, it wasn't all inclusive. No, so why is that when I declare and I think no, they must send them liberals to come water down the trad and pollute the trad and confuse I and I now, because once them come in it now, you have to be considering and thinking about them. go to any oppression and slavery, and they wasn't thinking about us. And even if they was thinking about us, they go the way of John Brown. Because John Brown was a good white man. If there's such a thing, a good white man. And him fight. Even though there was personal agendas there too, but nonetheless, he was brave and bold enough and him fight against slavery. And what the collective do? The collective murder him and make an example out of him. So I need to put this in and be cognizant of that and recognize that the individual is different from the collective. These not receptive aggressive people in their collective don't mean us no good. And we have to come into that realization and start dealing with yourself, because you find yourself loving a white man and you find yourself loving a white girl. Listen, when it comes to the collective, that is nothing. They will do away with them just like how they've been doing away with us. I never get into survival mode. And Rastafari is the survival track for the salvation of the nation African family. And that's what it's all about. So in a full time now, I have to say enough, man, and stop. Try to pollute and low up the track and confuse. The elders, when Leonardo will declare, Leonardo will declare black supremacy, even though I know not cotton to the word black supremacy, because there is a negative stereotype to supremacy. So I would use the word supremacy, but I would use the word one accord, oneness, unity, black unity. Yeah, because I not trying to dominate and be supreme over no one. I just want to maintain I order and know that I is viable as Rastafari people or black people. And we refuse to accept what them and those want to say about us. And we know that we are powerful people. And we know that we divine, we are one with our I divine. The divine blackness. And this is why we state it or we state it. And this is why we declare the king. And the simple reason why we declare the king, because I can't do it. I don't need no permission from them and those to accept. I is not looking for acceptance. And that is the problem with enough black skinned people around here. They're looking for acceptance. Rastafari is declaring the blackness boldly, and I within the collective now need to work together now to establish collective security for surety, organize and centralize. And this is what our father told us to do, and this is where we need to get to. And this is where Marcus gave tell I about the collectiveness, self-reliance. This is what it's all about. Anyway, we're going to seal it up again. Rastafari is yours. They never gave it to you. Rastafari was birthed out of white oppression and domination. And I refuse, I as a resistance who declare I divinity and I blackness as powerful. And this is why I said, Jah Rastafari without apology. Seal.